greatest conquerors of the world under her grip. There are many instances in the history of the world of great conquerors being captivated by the charms of Cleopatra. Anybody knows the story of Cleopatra? A little bit, yeah. She was a big queen in Egypt, around Babylonian, and there came a point that she was so attractive, all the kings just surrendered to her. Eventually, she actually ended up becoming the king of the country. That's how powerful she became. One has to study the captivating potency of woman and man's attraction for that potency. From what source was this generated? According to Vedanta Sutra, we can understand that everything is generated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is enunciated there, Janmadhyasya yatha. This means that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Supreme Person Brahman, the Absolute Truth, is the source from whom everything emanates. The captivating power of women and man's susceptibility to such attraction must also exist in the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world and must be represented in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so is the time correct? Yeah, 8 o'clock. Okay, sorry, 8 o'clock. Okay, so it's obviously a very strong verse. As you can imagine, these kind of verses, when misunderstood, or when they're not correctly understood, they can create a very, very chaotic conditions in spiritual organizations. So we have to understand it correctly in the context first, and we have to understand more expansively. Otherwise, the consequence is that the verse is saying the strength of my Maya, which is the power of the woman. So any spiritual organization, what happens is, we are not even, ISKCON is not immune to this. What happens is we start to demonize women. And we start to give them names like Maya, we start to give them terrifying names, and we start to underprivilege them, exploit them, and we become what's called a patriarchal society or a misogynistic society. You understand what they mean? Patriarchal or misogynistic societies are where men are always dominating, fully presuming that women have to be under control, and these kind of verses are taken to support and back their propensities to put women down, to underprivilege them, to exploit them, and to put them in boxes of this Maya and all kinds of things, Kali, Maya, and all kinds of things. But we need to spend some time to just calm down and understand these kind of things in proper context. Because half of the planet are women and half of the planet are men, generally speaking. If we underprivilege women and if we exploit them, and if we go into this patriarchal mode and misogynistic mode, what we are doing is we're really running a society on half power, half the strength. Imagine if what this ISKCON is, like any spiritual, not just ISKCON, any spiritual movement, imagine what the status is now, but imagine if half the strength is added, eliminating all the misunderstanding about these Maya Devis, every woman is a Maya Devi. Can you imagine if just ISKCON right now could function double what it does now? Could the potential increase, like become twice as it is now? So is there a need, now my question is there a need to clarify any misunderstandings around this concept, around this aspect? Do you think there is a need? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a good idea? if it gives us more horsepower, if it gives us more speed, more efficiency to run spiritual organizations? Do you think it's a good idea to clarify and eliminate these misunderstandings? Who thinks it's a good idea? Yeah? You think it's a good idea? So to understand this, what we have when we're talking about Sanskrit, I remember first time when I read Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada made a specific statement and he said, I'm translating this Sanskrit into a language, I'm dealing with English, which is very limited in terms of the scope that it can be translated from Sanskrit to English. That's the first statement he makes when he starts his preface in Bhagavad Gita. So here, the word that has been used for women is three. Yeah? But when you go to the next word to find, what I said is I was going to place these words in a context. So I'm trying to place these words in a context. So in these words, they say it's three, but in the next words, when they specify, what Kapila Muni is doing, he's specifying what kind of stree. What kind of stree? Sangam na kuryat pramada sujatu. So first he said, by the power of this women power, everyone comes under their control, and in one way the power of her needs to be afraid in one sense, but in the next verse he's clarifying, it's just not generally all women, he's narrowing down, Sangam na kuryat pramada sujatu. Which kind of woman? So we have to go to sometimes to understand Bhagavatam and what Prabhupada means by he's dealing with a very limited language like English to translate Sanskrit. Sometimes I actually go and look up these words in Sanskrit dictionary. And I looked at all the words that related to Pramada in Sanskrit dictionary. Amarakosha, there's so many dictionaries. Monier Williams, Amarakosha. Pramada is exactly like English, which actually comes from English. Pra is same as in English word proclaim, prognosis, probiotics. You see, all these words in English, comes from the Sanskrit pra. Mada, again in English, comes as madness. Mada, mad. So someone who is pro-mad. So in this verse today that we are reading, it's about, talking about a power of a woman, but in the next verse, Kapila Muni is narrowing down and he's saying, those women who are going to drive you pro-mad, pramada. It's not all women. So if we don't classify this correctly and put this in right context, another thing to remember, who is Kapila Muni speaking to? And who is she? She's a woman. So if this verse was meant to vilify women or exploit them or see them as Maya Devi, would he be sitting in front of his mother and talking to her like that? That you are a Maya Devi, I should be very careful of you. People like you raise your eyebrow and the whole world is going mad. Could he be saying something like that to his own mother? It would be very, very funny situation, wouldn't it? Come and imagine, Kapila Muni is sitting there and Devotee is sitting there. He's saying, people like you, your eyebrows, you raise your eyebrows and the whole world is going mad. You're all Maya Devis. We need to be careful about you. Do you really think Kapila Muni's mood is like that when he's speaking this? Exactly, but this is, I'm specifying, this is his mother, who is a wife of a Prajapati. So this is a mother, Devahuti, who is a wife of Prajapati and who is a daughter of Manu. Now come into context, and the person that is speaking to is God. Would God be sitting in front of his mother, insinuate that you women are all Maya Devis, you women may raise eyebrows and the whole world? Would that be the mood, or would there be something else going on here? Do you think there is a need to put this in context? Do you think we need to put it in context? Little context? So obviously he's not meaning about all women, he's talking about women that are wanton. So I looked up the dictionary, pramada, meaning of pramada in the Amarkosha dictionary and the Monroe Williams dictionary. Pramada, there's a list of men. One, it says a wanton woman. Do you understand the meaning of wanton woman? Wanton woman is just loose, just out there, just happy to go with anybody, open up with anybody, careless. Wanton means who is a licentious behavior, who takes license to do anything freely. That's what means wanton. So in Sanskrit dictionary, pramada means a woman with a wanton behavior. And there's another meaning of pramada. Do you understand what it is? It's just a simply sense gratification. Just joy, sense gratification for the sake of it. So when you put all this together, and another one more thing to think about here, Bhagavatam is not just for men, Bhagavatam is also for women. So how will women take these words? How can we put women into context? These words for women into context. They should be careful about wanton men. Men should be careful about wanton women, and women should be careful about wanton men who drive them pro-mad, who are driving them into this sense gratification, pro-madness, pramada, pro-madness. So it's not just men being careful about women, women also should be careful about men who are driving them mad. Because Bhagavatam is not just for men, it's also for women. So when you see this from a higher expansive perspective, this is not to demonize women, this is not to vilify and exploit and put them out of, put them in their place. That's not what it is about. It's about understanding our general nature to go nuts for sense gratification. It's our general habit to go nuts for sense gratification. That is actually what this verse is talking about. It's not trying to demonize any particular gender. It's not trying to demonize any particular... Because as if most of you may have read a lot of biographies of Prabhupada disciples, even female disciples like Vishaka Mataji and Jamuna Devi Mataji. So many biographies, and you'll see there's a list of Urmila Mataji, list of so much exploitation. Why? Because when men want to protect themselves, and the only way to protect is to say, call the grapes sour. Grapes are sour, Grapes are sour, or in this case, grapes are demons, or grapes are Maya. So it's an analogy. Do you know this analogy, grapes are sour analogy? Grapes are sour analogy is that someone can't eat grapes, so what he says is, they're sour anyway, so we don't want it. So, because you were not able to obtain your sense gratification with women, so what do? They're all Maya Devis anyway. It's a negative psychology. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's an analogy, saying grapes are sour. So, I was never able to get along with them anyway. They were no use in my mother punished me all the time anyway. All the psychological baggages. And then what we try to use, we use this against the woman. By taking these verses as a support to do that. But where does the problem actually lie? Is the problem with the woman or is the problem with us? We already have that propensity to exploit. We already have the propensity to see a woman as an object of sense gratification. Yadha navasi megogo venurva parthinunna tatha drashtari drashtatvam aropitam abhudaya. Just like in the sky you see dust, just like you sky in the smoke, and you say the whole sky is dusty and smoky, in the same way you are attributing your lust, your karma on women. But that's already in you, in us. So it's not the other person that needs to be fixed, it's us that needs to be fixed. It's us that needs to be understood. Why do I have so much lust? It's not, I'm not saying it's like you're a sinful person if you have lust, but what I'm trying to say is, how can I manage this? How can I work with this? It's better to work with our problems, it's better to manage our lusty propensities rather than blaming women or blaming some other genders or other people for why they are disturbing us. So there is an example of Haridas Thakur, for example. Haridas Thakur was approached by Mayadevi herself. Anybody knows the story? So I actually tell you a joke. You want to tell you a joke quickly? I'll tell you a joke. Hey Manaka, still listen to this joke. I know a brahmachari friend in India who started eating so much, started eating so much and put on like 12 kilos in 1 year. 10 kilos, 12 kilos in 1 year. And I asked him one day, what's going on? Got some conditioning here going on. And you know what he said to me? He said, I want to put on weight and I want to look ugly so that women don't approach me. Can you believe that? I want to become fat and I want to become ugly so that women don't approach me. No, but Haridas Thakur was not fat. Haridas Thakur, on the contrary, it is said that he was one of the most handsome men in Navadvip. Did you know that? Haridas Thakur would make Hrithik Roshan look like a puppy. Haridas Thakur would make the what is that big movie, Mahabali? He would make that Mahabali? Bahubali. He would make Haridas Thakur would make Bahubali look like a little puppy. I mean, he must have had some strength to take whippings at 23 marketplaces. Come on. Right? So, he was obviously a handsome man. He didn't eat so he can put on weight. What? When the Mayadevi saw him, she didn't go away because he was ugly and fat. He went away because he was so beautiful in Krishna consciousness. She was just completely gone when she looked at him. So it's not when Haridas Thakur, when the prostitute looked at, or Mayadevi looked at Haridas Thakur, they thought he was so ugly, he was so fat. He was so handsome. But they were completely drawn towards this beauty of Krishna consciousness. Same with Devaki, when she was containing Krishna, it is said she was looking like beautiful, containing this Krishna consciousness in her. And Prabhupada uses this specific word, containing Krishna consciousness, and she was looking beautiful. So we have to put these verses in context and not 24/7 trying to guard and spend 24/7 of our time rather than trying to blame others that they are Mayavadis, others. Think about what is my psychological issue? Why did I come into this kind of mentality that I'm always looking to exploit a lady, a pravda? Why? We can work on this. You can work on this. It doesn't have to be a brahmachari. It doesn't have to be a sannyasi. It has even grahasthas and vanaprasthas. We can work on this. Understand why we have become like this. Understand the philosophy. Then it doesn't matter where you are. You could be standing. Remember the story of Ramananda Rai? He was bathing naked girls with his own hands who were going to be performing as nartakis. So obviously they're one of the most beautiful people in India. But he was fine. Why? Because यथा नभसि मे घो घो वान्रिवो पार्थिवो नला. Evam drashtari drashtvatvam. You look at them as a subject on their own self, not the object of your sense gratification. It's better to work with our own psychology than blaming women, claiming them Maya Devis. There is a very, very strong requirement to identify the skills of women. There is a very strong requirement that there is a proportionate involvement of both genders in the managements, in the running of in religious institutions, countries, societies, communities. Some of the most people that have moved me in Bhagavatam classes were women. When I heard first Urmila Mataji's class, I was gone. I'll tell you what, I'm not known to be a very soft guy at heart, but when I heard Ramburu Mataji's class from last Sunday, touch ground, it's embarrassing to say, but I was crying. It's embarrassing to say this, but I cried. So it is so important to identify the skills, the nature, the requirement of a good balance of all genders, not just in temples, mosques, churches, countries, societies, everywhere. It is extremely important. We don't take these words as a backup to hate them, dislike them, exploit them, underprivilege them, become patriarchal, become misogynistic societies. We understand in the right context. One, he is speaking to his mother, so he couldn't be vilifying his mother. Yeah. Two, to understand it's not all women, it's pramada, pro-mats that are driving you nuts. And it's not just women are driving men nuts, men are driving women nuts. We need to consider that, aren't they? Aren't we driving women nuts? Come on, let's accept this. So we are driving women nuts, and women are driving men nuts. So when we look at this in a balanced, expansive way like that, then we can all grow together, because it is extremely important to have a solid gender balance. Women bring this love. Remember what she said, Ramburi Mataji? If you want to be loved, she said, first love. If you want to be respected, first respect. If you want to be forgiven, first forgive. These kind of motherly things, they can only bring it. Men, we have an angle. I can speak philosophy until cows come home. But that love, that touch, that warmth, that care, that nurture, that comes from women. But having said that, the verse is saying, by the raise of their eyebrows, Vijrumbena, Pruvi Vijrumbena, we are all going nuts. But who? That's Pramadas. Now the question is, I think we're coming close, I'll finish this. 8:30, right? The question is, what problem do we have why are we, when we're working with our psychologists, this is the reason. Obviously our bodily soup or three gunas are driving us to become pro-mad like this. You have a specific bodily three guna soup. You have a specific bodily three guna soup. You have a specific body three guna soup. Rajastama. Everybody have a different proportion. Right? So we have to work on these proportions. We have to work on these proportions. So the problem is the bodily identification, right? Why is it hard to understand and overcome this bodily identification? We need to think about this. This will be my last statement. This will change your... you want me to proceed? Last one bullet point to make a note. No extra charge. This is the reason why we are not able to relinquish our grip on this material world, on the sense gratification. One of the main reasons. One of the main reasons that we are not able to relinquish our grip on this material world, on this bodily concept of life, on this lust, on looking at women as my object of lust. The reason we don't relinquish our grip is because we don't understand that outside this body as an Atma, you can actually have a completely fulfilling life. We do not understand this point. We only think we can have accomplished relationships. We think we can do our goals. We can have satisfaction. We can have relationships. We can have sports. We can have fun. We can have parties. We can have friendships. We are conditioned to believe that this is only possible when we are in this body. When we are stuck like this, in a swamp of bodily identification, where we are conditioned to believe that we can only have accomplished life within the body, then you will never relinquish your grip. You understand what relinquish means? Give up. Relinquish means छोड़ना. तो इस बॉडीली आइडेंटिफिकेशन में तब तक छोड़ नहीं सकते हो, relinquish नहीं कर सकते हो, जब तक आपको ये समझना है, until you understand कि there is actually whole life of accomplishments, enhanced satisfaction, enhanced relationships, enhanced everything, sports, arts, poetry, knowledge, beyond this body, when you're outside this body as an Atma. When you understand this correctly, then it will be very easy for you to relinquish this bodily grip. And for that, what do you need for that? Last question. Say again. More than that. Answer this and we'll finish the class. Why? One, we are not able to relinquish the material grip because we think we can only have satisfaction, accomplishment, joy, knowledge, sports, ananda, cricket, rugby, football in the body. That's the problem. But you need to understand that you have all this available outside the body. Yeah? But to be able to do that, what is that helps you? What is that will help you to relinquish the grip of this body? Please, let's finish this class. Air conditioner will come. Huh? You're getting there. You're getting there. Anybody else? Very close, very close. I'm looking for a technical word. Very close. I'm looking for a technical word. Very close. I'm looking for a technical word. Okay, I give you the answer. Higher taste. Because you are thinking that all the taste that you have is only available in the body. But when you get Yadavadi Mama Chitta Pad Krishna Pada Ravinda Navanava Rasadhaman Rantumasi Tadavadi Mama Batanari Sangamano Bhavati Mukha Vikara Sishtu Nishtivanam Cha. When we read this verse, we focus on the spitting part, but we don't understand the premise Yamunacharya is giving. The reason he has been able to relinquish his old attachments to women is not because he was spitting on women, is because he has already a Nava Rasa Dhamanya Rantumasi. Because he was every day he was realizing this, he was getting this new elevated relations, new elevated taste in Krishna consciousness. When you get this taste, then relinquishing this bodily identity, relinquishing this womanly lust, relinquishing this is just normal. Would you play with a toy that you were playing when you were 5-year-old if I gave it to you now? Why not? Because you have grown over it. You have a higher taste. Would you play still with that little dove that you were playing when you were young? Why not? Because you've grown over it. You understand? So you, rather than vilifying women, Maya Devis, this, that, find a proper gender, fix ourselves. And how do you fix yourself? By finding a higher taste. Finding a higher taste. Nava nava rasadhama yadantumasit. Then bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishtivanamcha. Then the consequence is, when you remember all your lustful activities, you're like, God, what was I thinking? Yuck! That's it. It's about getting higher taste. It's not about vilifying women. We need a good gender balance in any country, any society, any temple, any mosque. Because women bring warmth, care, nurturing, different ideas, celebrations. So we have our part to play, they have their part to play. Do you understand? So this is a better way to understand this, to move progressively in Krishna consciousness. Are you happy? Does that make sense? Does it give some food for thought? Are you going to look at women in much more appreciative way from now? Are we all going to do that? Yeah, let's not do these Mayadevi games and now. Nah. They are our mothers. On one hand we're saying Mataji and inside we're saying you Mayadevi. No. Don't do that. Problem is us. Let's fix. Charity starts from home. Let's fix ourselves. You can have 1,000 women standing. You can have 1,000 women standing naked in front of you, but if you are fixed, it's fine. I was wondering, ironically, there was no women in this class today, and I was thinking maybe they're all afraid, they're gone, because they're scared. What kind of things we talk in our Bhagavatam classes? They're scared. What are we going to do? They don't know what to expect, so they're gone. But let's speak friendly from now. Yeah? Oh, happy? Okay, I won't take any questions because we're out of time. If you have questions, I'll be sitting in the breakfast room. Okay? Vanchakapatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Anandagati Vaishnavindaki. Thank you very much for coming. Short class, but hopefully it made sense. You know, my mother used to say, my teacher used to say, she said, if you have a dream, it doesn't matter even if you have a minute, it's enough to say it. So I had 30 minutes, so that was plenty. Shri Prabhupada ki Vaishnav ki jai.